Hello there. I have a last minute spooky farmhouse Halloween video because I wanted to. I'm Whitney with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and let's jump into the craft room because I had a stencil that I needed to use. So, first project, we're going to take this chunk of wood. Now, I got this box of wood off of Amazon a while back. If you've been with me for a while, you've seen it before, but I liked the fact that this was like definitely a remnant piece of some sort of flooring or siding or something, but I like that there's a chunk right here missing. I like that weird ripped up look. We're gonna make it work. So I have this cute little stencil I got from Essential Stencil earlier in the year. Essential Stencil will release their goodies and their holiday stuff way early, and I bought this I think in July. I'm not sure. I bought it a while back, and I did not want to skip this season, so I definitely want to use a couple of these. It's very botanical. It's very pretty. I don't know if this is available. It probably is, but I mean, I'm not linked up with Essential Stencil. I just like their stuff and I buy it. So I wanted to use this skeleton on this one, and it thought this chunk of the wood right here is like perfect for it. Look how it fits so perfectly in that spot. That's why I like some of these damaged things. If you find the items that are broken or damaged, you can always look for the solid parts or the good parts to see what you can put around it to make it look pretty. That's just kind of how my brain works. So it's rub-on stencils are pretty much the same no matter where you get them. You're going to apply them down, make sure you get a good adhesion, obviously on a surface that it'll stick to. If there's wax or some sort of coating or sealer on there, it might not work, but this worked out really good on this type of wood. I don't know what kind of wood it is, but it's gorgeous, so I didn't stain it, didn't touch it. Now I want to add some more butterflies to it, so I'm taking extra little pieces here, and I'm just going to apply the butterflies where I see fit, just to kind of fill in what's left over of negative space. This is just going to be a pretty little shelf sitter is really all it is. And this is like, there are certain types of, taste where you would leave this out year round. I think this is gorgeous. And my aesthetic is pumpkins year round. So no judgment on if you are a skull person, because I know a lot of you have messaged me, and in the comments I see that, you do this and this is your theme or your jam year round. And I have a few friends that are spooky or gothic, and they have stuff like this year round, bats and different things. So I think this is actually a very cute little farmhouse take. It's like my take on a spooky thing, and I wouldn't mind leaving this out. Even right now, for the way I just redecorated the front room, the living room, and my entryway, I could nestle this in and get away with it because it's got those gold colors that I went with this year. Now look at that. You could say you're done. Literally just put the transfer on a piece of wood and you're done. It's a shelf sitter or a tabletop device, tabletop decor. But we're not done. We got to seal it, of course. So I'm going to use the clear wax and dark wax. Now I get all my DIY products from Lori at miltonsdaughter.com. Awesome human. Her link and description is in my description below. Her link, and there's a code too there. Now, I use the clear wax first because it helps me control more when I use dark wax over that. If you just put dark wax right onto something, you better be prepared for it to be dark. So, majority of the time, you will always see me use clear wax first to go over the main event. And then I'm using my dark wax pretty heavily, as you see here, around this edge and that broken edge, because where that wood is raw and broken there, it takes that wax on very well, so it gives me almost like a burnt look, which I'm loving. So this is dark wax, not black wax, but it's dark wax. And I do go more around the edges of it, and I did a little bit over the top just to see here, but it's really about how you feel and what you're looking for. I was looking for, again, that farmhouse distress look that I love so much. And again, the back doesn't matter, but this is going to be our little shelf sitter, but I can't leave it alone yet, so I'm going to add these two ribbons here. This is like a slatish gray color and then a black grosgrain ribbon. I believe I got this says Celebrate It. So those are Michael's ribbons. I'm just going to do very simple bows. So this one here, I'm just going to cut a strip of the gray ribbon, and I'm going to pretend I'm going to make a bow, but instead of actually tying it, I'm just going to kind of cross it over on itself, and I'm doing it all out of frame because that's what you do when you make YouTube videos, is make sure everything's out of frame, Whitney. I'm just going to shoot a staple right there into the wood. And because remember, we applied wax to that, so I need to find a way to secure that down. Hot glue wouldn't work because I already waxed it. Now I'm going to do a finger bow in the black grosgrain, and I'm going to glue that on top of our stapled gray bow. And then I would say you could still be done here, but not yet. Whitney's going to add some of this beautiful baby's breath. That is from Hobby Lobby in their fall section. It's in the stems section when you come into the store. It's in the stems. But they had the most beautiful fall, colors, which was like cream and then a brown and like an olive green. So this is the cream color. And I'm just taking the little buds off of it. And I only add 3 on it because, again, I like to do odd numbers if it's possible. And then I would say it's done. So this was really quick, but also very effective. And it gets across, if you want that subtle little spooky farmhousey Halloween vibe, or again, if you just want to leave this out year round. That's all she wrote. Look how cute it is. I love it. Now, I did have in mind, I'm going to make an arrangement. So my next DIY we're running into, you're going to see that right there behind that picture. So that's the little arrangement we're going to make next. Because I had that idea to come together to make these two as a set. I really love the way they look together also. A lot of creams, a lot of the golds, and then the florals and the butterflies. It's just, it speaks to me as well as all my spooky gothic friends that I got. But tell me what you think. Is this something you'd leave out year round, or is this something you're like, oh, it's a great little holiday piece? Either way, I love it. Now, here's side by side with the arrangement behind it. And I didn't want to give it away too much, so when we're done with the arrangement, you'll see a bigger picture of the two together. But I love how they turned out. So we're going to take a craft pumpkin for our little arrangement we're going to make. And this is the first time I've actually cut into one, so I'll tell you all about it. So yeah, here it says craft pumpkin. I did not pay $9. I've had this in my stash for many years, but you can get these every year. But this was a Michael's purchase many years ago. I'm taking my styrofoam knife. This is a bread knife, but I'm taking this is a styrofoam knife I use in my craft room for styrofoam. It's a serrated edge. Yeah, these craft pumpkins don't need that much effort, so I went and got just my other I have many knives. My other styrofoam knife. Way better choice, cut so nicely, but I had already kind of butchered most of it around the side, so it's a little crooked, but we're going to fix that. We're putting flowers in it. There will be a way to cover it up. I do want to add another black element. I like putting the dark black colors sometimes in with the lighter creams and things, because for me, that's almost the best way to get that the look I'm achieving, or the look that I'm going for is, I don't know if it's Farmhouse or not, but I know if you add like a nice dark black to things, you get a lot of light neutrals together, it's bold, but it's very, it makes me feel good. So I guess I want to say it's Farmhouse, but I like it. I don't know what it's called, but I like it. So we'll put that on a t-shirt. I don't know what that's called, but I like it. So I'm just going to say it's mine. Now I'm just going to add 3 strands of this black grosgrain ribbon to the outside, just to add a little bit more definition to it. Because, sometimes these little white pumpkins, they can get lost. Now I'm not painting it either, so it does still have a little bit of that plasticky look, but mainly one of these strands of grosgrain black ribbon is covering up that seam, which was my main reason for putting it on the outside. But then I was like, oh, this worked out pretty good, so I need to put maybe 2 more on there. So again, I'm covering up the plastic seam so you don't see where, it was made in China, but we want it to look as real as possible, but we know it's fake. So it's as fake as real as possible, but looks real, but we know it's not real, but whatever. Moving on. We're going to fill in with some styrofoam. I glued that in there. Hot glue and styrofoam on this plastic works just fine. That's not going to go anywhere. And then I'm going to cover up all that goodie, stuff a bunch of Spanish moss on the top of it. And then we're going back into my stash, and I'm just going to take out a decent amount of cream colored florals. And then of course I got some black florals new this year at Michael's. This is an old Michael's purchase. I've had these little flowers in my stash for quite some time. And I started out with them not thinking properly, because normally I will do like what would be greenery first. So I did put this one in, but we're going to go to my Amazon purchase here, and we're going to do what would normally be the greenery of a normal arrangement. So I believe that there's a little bit of the brown eucalyptus, and I don't know what this is called, but it comes in many different colors. These are both off of Amazon. You can take a peek at them. They're in my Amazon store, which is linked in the first comment below, and then also the description. Also, I am an Amazon affiliate, so any purchase you make through that does help me a little bit. So if you feel you need to, you can follow my link below, make your purchases, and every little bit will help me maintain my channel. So thank you for that in advance if that's something you're willing to do. Now, I just got the brown eucalyptus I'm putting in here this year, and I love this color. I love the way it looks. It's a plastic, like little plant filler, but it does its job. It's very nice. It doesn't look too overly done. And then I layered that with the black, I'm gonna call it eucalyptus. And now these roses I got this year, along with some carnations from Michael's, but I didn't use the carnations. I went to Michael's a couple weeks ago, and all of their Halloween was like 60-70% off. So that's probably picked over by now by the time this comes out, because this is my last minute spooky video. Halloween's about a little over a week away. I just wanted to put out one more spooky video because I know all of my spooky girls out there. I know a lot of you like a lot of the stuff I do, but I wanted to put something out that just says, Whitney spooky. So it's Farmhouse spooky. if it makes sense. If that makes sense, whatever. I like this. It made me happy. I wanted to do this last minute video because I know it is close to Halloween, but you know, for me, I watch fall and Halloween videos all year long, especially if I get into a certain mood. I'll go to different creators and I'll just pull up Halloween stuff and fall stuff so that I can feel good and watch pumpkins being created, even if they're videos from like 5-6 years ago. I'll watch other creators, old content. So that's just something that puts me in a better mood because not everybody is as weird as I am and likes pumpkins year round like I do. So that was the longest description as to why I'm putting out a Halloween video a week before Halloween. Who knows? Anyhow, now after I finished the flowers and stuff, I realized that the edge around the pumpkin wasn't making me happy. So I needed to try to cover that as well. So I just grabbed this. This is a thicker grosgrain ribbon. I've gotten this. My friend sent me this from a ribbon factory she lives near, and she's on the East Coast. So I bought this. I got this at severely wonderful discounted price. I'm adding a layer of that, or a band of that around the top, closer to the edge under the flowers, so that we can kind of mask some of also the knife marks I made when I went a little too crazy on it. And then I'm going to add a couple bows on either side into some empty areas. So I just kind of made the little awareness ribbon shapes. And then I didn't cinch them or tie them, but I did take a zip tie, a small zip tie, and just gathered them in the middle. Then I cut the zip tie at a sharper edge at the end of what was left over of the tail of the zip tie. And I'm using that with some hot glue on the end of it to nestle it. And you're pushing that into the styrofoam. So that's where it's biting at. And then it's got hot glue on it, so it's not going anywhere. You'll be covered. That's usually how I will add most of these types of bundles. If I don't have a zip tie on it, then I'm probably using either a chenille stem with a pick on the end of it or something to the effect I have to secure it to something hard because, you know, you can't get that ribbon in there. Or sometimes if it's just shallow and I can put a floral pin through the ribbon and push that into the styrofoam. And now also last minute, I'm adding again that same baby's breath. You're going to see this in almost every... Yeah, except for the last project. This is in all of our videos. This is in all of our projects today. This Hobby Lobby Baby's Breath, that's the perfect muted cream color. It just worked for everything today. It's very pretty. So I did add that in. And I actually like the pops of green. You can see some of the green on those lighter, fluffier cream flowers. And then also the little, I want to say they're like more carnation-y looking rosy things I added. Those were from Michael's. I like that you have pops of green mixed with the brown and the black. It's just... I love it. It's almost like again, I keep saying it like this is going towards like fall wedding vibes. Maybe that's just my aesthetic. Like, why would I say, well, you know what? Weddings are pretty, so who cares? I mean, let's make it look like it's a wedding year round in my home, no matter what season it is. We'll do Christmas wedding, and then we'll do a Valentine's wedding. Then we'll do Easter and spring weddings, and then summer and fall. Who cares? I love it. If it's over the top, then more than likely I probably did it. But look at the cute little arrangement. Now this is not huge, but it's also not small. And look how cute they are paired with the sign here on the right. That was my vision. It worked out. And actually it's something that finally came forward the way it was supposed to. So who would have thought? And now I wanted to make another one. So our third DIY is going to be another block of wood. Now I found these blocks of wood behind my console table when I just redid that for the last video when I made a centerpiece. So I told my husband, look, I found this wood. I'm going to take it and make it into things. So I'm going to take my favorite stain. This is a wood stain from Amazon. It's Folk Art Home Decor wood tint. Sorry, it's not a stain. It's a wood tint in the color walnut. It is my favorite color. I can't explain to you why this, when I see this, it just makes me happy. And this is just your average block of wood. I believe we used to use this to prop something up in the garage or something. I don't know. And what my husband was using it on behind the console table to prop up the modem and the router. And I'm like, well, we'll have to buy something different because I want this block of wood. So, and I believe I have like 5 or 6 of them. So it's like we went to the hardware store, they chopped it up for us, and now it is becoming my DIY projects so many years later. Look how pretty it is. It's just your average cheap wood. I want to say it's a 1x2 or 1x3 or 4 or something. But in any event, after the stain is dried or the tint is dried, I'm going to use crinoline. It's my DIY paint. This was new. I got this probably a couple months ago, and I have been going crazy with the crinoline. So I get all my DIY products from Lori at Milton's Daughter. So you saw I used that with the wax, and now we're using the DIY paints. Now DIY paint does not have a sealer in it. It is a clay-based paint, so it does reactivate with water. So you will need to seal it. Again, you don't have to. It's not the end of the world, but you probably should. Otherwise, you can scratch it off, chip it off, or use water and bring it back to life and kind of wipe it off. But I love this type of paint because it does have very good coverage, and This color, crinoline, is like the perfect muted cream color. It's not too yellow. It's just, I don't know. I love this. So I used a different brush for this one, and I was getting kind of too thick and gloopy brush strokes. So I went and got another softer brush out. Now, normally I wouldn't even have done a second coat, but that was because of the brush strokes I wasn't happy with. So after that, I'm taking my masking tape off. I wanted to get crisp lines. Now, most of the stuff you see me do, you will see me do a lot of stuff that is broken, distressed, crooked, missing. I will rub things off, sand things off. You can wet distress with this type of paint, which I love doing. But I wanted a crisp line on this block of wood. And then we're going to use our same stencil from Essential Stencil, the Bones to Blooms that we used in the first DIY. And I'm going to just do the little jack-o'-lanterns part of it. These flowers are speaking to me. So this is like the best part of Halloween, because I've said it before, I don't decorate for Halloween. I do my pumpkins and I do fall as early as I possibly can. As you know, again, I've said it many times, pumpkins never go, they're never put away in my home. I leave them out year round. I absolutely am crazy for pumpkins, but they are different colors for those types, for whatever season it is. So mostly, like for the last 5 years, I've had green and white out for spring and summer and regular, the off seasons. And then for the fall season, I will go either traditional, or this year I still kept them white, but I went with golds and things. This is a very muted orange, and the flowers are speaking to me too. So I would say as soon as it's quote unquote socially acceptable, or I have an excuse to go even more overboard than I normally do, because let me tell you guys, I am crazy, and I will admit that. Because they say the first step is admitting if you're in denial. I'm like, well, I'm not in denial. So it's just, I don't think it's a problem. So I'm not looking for help. You know what I'm saying? This is my home. This is, you do what makes you happy. And this makes me happy. So I put out my fall stuff as far as decorating is concerned, normally about September. And I will put Christmas out. But this year, because of all the time and effort and money I spent for doing everything this year for fall, we're going to add some Christmas elements, and I will do a video to show you that, but we're leaving the fall stuff out. So mainly why I don't do Halloween is because you got Halloween, boom, then fall, boom, then Christmas, and then I have to put it all away. It makes me sad. So I just leave fall out. And even then, even under my Christmas tree, there's pumpkins. There's pumpkins in my tree. I will never cease to amaze you to the extent of my pumpkin obsession. Trust me, if you're new here, you will find that out, and you will either love it or you will leave. And whichever you are, it's fine. Stick around, but just remember, it doesn't have to be pumpkins. I may be doing pumpkins, but you could apply anything you want to it. Now, I talked all through that, but we've done this particular thing to the first thing, so we used, again, clear and dark wax. Now, what I want to do is, now that this stuff is somewhat cured, because I only let it sit for a little bit, I'm going to take these furniture tacks. I got these off of Amazon. They're kind of like a brassy, antiqued brassy look. Again, they're linked in my Amazon store. And then also I got some new it's paper coated wire. I ran out of it, my other, which was thicker, because I have made a lot of crocheted pumpkins. And again, I have a whole bundle waiting, guys. I need to decorate them, and then I need to get them listed in my coffee shop for this year, because I know a lot of people won't be buying them out of the season like I do, but I will get them listed. But anyways, I got some more ribbon, or some more wire. Now I'm going to tap the furniture tacks just, enough in so that they don't come out. But you need to leave enough space so that we can get the wire in between them, because I'm going to basically use them like the little secure pieces that we're going to use. We're going to wrap the wire around that and make basically a little fake handle. This particular gauge wire is not the strongest wire you can get, so it's not a functional handle. It is purely decorative. It will need a little bit of care and TLC from time to time, because it will get bent. Especially if it's getting, when it gets packed away, if you should pack it away. Or if, during shipping, if it is shipping. I also want to mention all my DIYs in this video today will be listed on my coffee page for sale. So please take a look. Every little bit helps with that. Everything from my coffee page gets reinvested into the channel. So for me to buy supplies and equipment to keep my channel going. So whether it's a donation or you buy a DIY, every little bit helps. And again, there's a link to my coffee page in my description and the pinned comment below. But like I said, if this, when this particular girl finds her forever home, this handle is not functional. So the wire will get bent, it will get moved around. But the best part is that it can be reformed. If you saw that I did originally, I wrapped it around a hot glue stick. And anything that's like gives you that nice circular look, you can get a smaller item than the glue stick, and you get a smaller coil. It just depends on your preference. Now you see me, I'm wrapping this around the little furniture tack as much as I can before I hammer it down completely, and that's going to hold it on each side. But again, it's not a functional handle, so it's not the end of the world. But you will see me here. I am just kind of reforming it to get it, you know, back to the way I want. And I bend it down and push it down, push it up. But even then, that by itself is super cute. But you know, I can't leave things alone. Not at all. I have to add more accoutrement. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. I just do like a little awareness shape, wrap the bow, you know, squeeze the bow on top of itself, or just bring the middle down to the center. And I'm going to tack it down with a staple. Because again, we've got wax under there, just like our first DIY. And I'm going to put another bow on top of that. But at least you can see here, that is secured with a staple. It's not going anywhere. So I'm going to do another finger bow. And I'm not really going into detail in my videos here. I do have a separate finger bow tutorial video that is linked in my description below for you to take a peek at it. It slows things down. It shows you, you know, more closely with more detail on how to really do them. And then even now today, I still struggle. You'll see me pull things out. Even now, I mess and fuss with this one and adjust it for a good couple minutes, which I cut out because nobody needs to watch that. That's really boring. And so before I layer this on top of our gray bow, I am going to add some Spanish moss because I wanted just a little bit of a cushion there, just a little bit of cushion. Also some more stuffed because, you know, I'm going to glue some baby's breath in here. So there's my Hobby Lobby baby's breath. Now this one, I didn't just take the buds. I did clip off some of the little greenery pieces to leave them a little bit longer as though they had stems. And then I'm going to tuck this into the bow ribbon, the gray ribbon, and that Spanish moss on the side. You'll see a lot of times the method to my madness is that I want to put some more things in here to have an anchor to glue other things to. We have a decent amount of wax on this particular box. Now I did not put the dark wax around the outside. My main goal was to wax the stencil and the DIY paint on the front. So there is wax mostly on the edge of this project, not necessarily on the top where we're gluing things, but there's still a chance that the wax could have gotten there if I brushed a little bit, you know, down on one side or whatever. So more than likely, this is more a security measure, you could say. It's my excuse to just load this thing up with florals and pretty things that make me happy. That's really all it is. Also, you could, you know what I could have did? Add some little tiny mini buttons in here. I also have these little cupcake toppers. You're going to see me use that in the next DIY where they have, like, I have bats or skulls, anything. I also have some skull beads. I bought some beads from Amazon. You've seen me. I've seen those in my other, I've used those in my other DIYs. Those are pretty. So there's a lot of options you could do here. I just kind of stuck with the same theme that we'd done before, because even if you want to buy all of these that still look great in a set, they'd look good in a vignette together, because again, you got a theme going if you like that thing. But look how cute it is. That's it. Just take a chunk of wood. It's literally a chunk of wood. You can't go wrong with that. You can go to the hardware store, and if they cut your wood for you, that'd be great. Out here where I live in Vegas, they seem to not want to cut the wood for me. And I don't know if that's because of the city I live in or if it's just the hardware store I live next to, but yeah, they will not cut wood for me at the stores. So I'm going to either have to start buying some wood cutting equipment, which is scary because of the possibilities more than anything. I'm not worried about hurting myself because I'll be okay. I could probably do it. But again, the possibilities would be crazy if I started doing that. But what do you think of this little girl? Look how cute it is. I love the two pumpkins together. I love the muted colors. I love all of it. You tell me what you think. And now our last one. I've got some fabric from Michaels. Finally got some fabric. Now this is online before Michaels brought out their stuff to the stores. And then this little wood palette bat I've had from Dollar Tree for some time. That was in my little Halloween stash box. And now what I'm going to do is I want to trace out this bat. Now I turn the fabric inside out, or so it's, you know, right sides together. And then my chalk marker decided to stop working. And I don't know why I picked up a green Sharpie, because I needed a problem, I guess, because, you know, I can't help myself from doing things to make things harder on myself. So in some parts, you see the dang green Sharpie through the fabric. So be smarter than me and don't use a dark marker. But any hoodle. So I traced out the bat. Now, if you noticed, the little wood cutout had legs and a head. I just kind of went around that, and I didn't trace around that. And I just made the top part of the bat, I'm just going to cut it where it comes to a point here, because I didn't like the head. And also, you don't want too many details when you're doing these little stuffed pillow things. So that's what I'm making. I'm making some stuffed pillow, like bowl fillers. Now, these are pretty big for being a bowl filler. So more or less, it could just be like a table topper or a tiered tray item, or something that you put in a tray or a pedestal piece, maybe in a centerpiece, or just to lay it within your stuff up against a shelf or something. But I love making these little stuff thingies. You basically just need to cut out a shape that you like. It could be a ghost. Could be anything. Coffin shape would be cute too. And so I chose to do a bat, and then we're going to put the wrong sides together, and we're going to use hot glue. Now, if you are a sewer, which I have a sewing machine, and I would say that I'm a sewer, I'm not a seamstress by any means, but I'm not trying to do this much detail. I like the look that you get when you use the hot glue. On other shapes that don't have so many curves and little, jaunts here and there, you can do a little bit different. Like last year, I made some Christmas, or it wasn't last year, it was probably 2 years ago, I made some Christmas trees. I like to leave a bigger border on the outside for the fabric to fray. And this isn't the best fabric for fraying. So, if you go through burlap or some canvas, you can get a really good fray on it. But so I did a small border around that. So you can see where the hot glue is as far as it looks like a seam as soon as we start stuffing it here. So you can see the shape comes a little bit more to the forefront. And you can tell what exactly you were going for. You're going for like a little stuffed bat. This is in no means perfect in any way. There are pieces where the fabric does not match up. You can see again. In my observations. There we go. That's the word. You can see the black or the green marker, the green Sharpie in a couple places. But I think far enough away in your decor, setting this out, you're not going to notice it. I'm going to bring your attention to it because I want you to see what mistakes have been made, because things usually are from a different perspective. You'd never notice them. And we're all our own worst critics sometimes. So I'm like, oh, it's messed up. No, I still love these. I still think they're cute. There's a very messy vibe. It's a very, country farmhouse, vintage, antique-y, whatever word you want to use. Basically, it's distressed because it's not perfect. A lot of the cuts don't match. Now, I could have, and I should have, and I will the next time, use some pins to keep the fabric together when I'm cutting it. That probably would have been better. But basically, the meat and potatoes of the bats is after I stuff them with polyfill, then I just glue the tops closed. And here I'm getting a scrap piece of burlap out of my junk bucket, and I'm just going to cut some squares, and then I'm going to fray it by hand. So with some of the burlaps, you'll know, it's especially if it's a really big webbing or a bigger size burlap, you can just pull these strings off. What I'm going for is a patchwork look. So I'm pulling off enough of the strings on the edges to get this little square design here. So we also have that look, and it pops against the gray and the black here. So that's why I was going for with the the stray piece or the extra little scrap piece of burlap. That's why I don't throw anything away. We're going to secure this down in the middle because we are going to put some ribbon and some bows here in the middle so you won't see it. So this is more or less kind of like my little patchwork. You can also use a safety pin with some buttons or a beaded tassel on the safety pin. You could stamp some words onto a piece of cheesecloth and then like wrap that around, safety pin that on. I did that with the Christmas trees. For Christmas, I had a rusty bell. And I think I put Christmas or Jingle Bells or something. I don't know what wait, did I stamp on it all? I might not have stamped on it. But cheesecloth's a good one too because it rips really good. And that also would be kind of spooky for Halloween. You could also kind of rip the cheesecloth instead of cutting it, and then maybe use some ink to distress it so it's like, get some brown and black on it. But anyways, I digress. What we're doing here is I'm making an awareness ribbon shape, and I'm leaving it that way. I'm not making a bow out of it. I'm leaving it as the awareness shape. And I am taking that grosgrain and I am gluing it to itself to keep the shape, and then I'm gluing it to the bat right over the top center of our little patches of burlap. And then here I am not doing I'm not doing a finger bow, I'm doing a shoestring bow. So I'm just taking a piece of jute twine and I'm tying it as though you would be tying your shoes. Hence shoestring bow, or shoestring bow. And then I'm burning all the fuzzies off. I forever will burn fuzzies off of jute because I dislike it. It's just a thing for me. If you like your fuzzies, leave your fuzzies, be happy. And then here I'm just kind of laying it down, and it's a tiny little detail, but I love the fact that it's just a simple little bow, because everything else I do ends up being over the top somehow, like Whitney, you just keep adding stuff, calm down. I like it, but I like adding this one little piece because I'm not done. Again, if you don't have these I have these little cupcake things. We're going to put on a cupcake topper on here, but you could use buttons, you could use bells, you could use beads, you could use all kinds of stuff. You could even do like Scrabble letters that spell boo or eek or bats, that type of thing. But what I'm doing is after I secure these little jute bows I made, little shoestring easy jute bows, we are going to use cupcake toppers. Now I've had these from Hobby Lobby. I've had these here, cupcake picks, sorry. I've had these from Dollar Tree for some years, and I haven't run out yet. Now, I have bats and skulls. Now, the bat was cute, But for some reason, when I put the skull up here, the gray kind of popped better, and I just went with the skull. Because obviously it's already a bat, so why would we go overboard with bats? Because technically I don't know what the word overboard means, because for me, I don't see overboard. I just see, oh, it makes me happy and it's still pretty. So you tell me. But I like the skulls, so I went with the skulls. Did you like the bats better? I like the skulls. The bats kind of got lost in it because they were darker, but I like these little skulls, and I had more of them because I've used less of them over the years. So let's use more of our stash. And that's it for those little guys. Look how cute they are. Now, again, if I had thought about it, I would have roughed up the edges of the fabric before I started gluing them together. And then even here, this one, I'm trying to work some of the polyfill down to the end because it felt a little too thin on that end. But look how cute they are. They're very effective. Now, if you can make them smaller, they don't necessarily need to have so many details in them. But this is the smallest size I could do, personally, to where I didn't feel like it lost the detail. And you know it's a bat. At least you can look at it and say, hey, look, these are bats. They're so cute. Because that's what we go for. We go for cute bats. None of this stuff is real. Because if you had a real bat in your house, it wouldn't be cute at all. But tell me your thoughts. What do you think? I love how these little guys turned out. And again, this is stuff that I'd put out in my home, even though I'm a fall farmhouse girl. These spooky little guys make me happy. What do you think? Now that's it for this video. We had the 4 projects. I wanted to get a spooky thing out just before the last, we're before the end of our October gets to us. So I have some more fall. I at least got 2 more fall videos coming to you, and then I will be jumping into Christmas. So no worries, I will be doing Christmas. I don't want you to think I'm skipping it, but I need to get more pumpkins out. But with all these details and all these botanicals and these florals and these colors, I just had to get one more Halloween video out for you. Now, I did mention before, a little earlier in the video, but I am going to sell. All of these DIYs you see here are going to be listed on my coffee page for sale. So if you like them, you want to take a peek at that, you can purchase them there. Also, the coffee page itself, I can take any type of, there are some, let me start over. I have a couple different ideas for my coffee page. I might be going in a different route, but I want to do some more fiber art stuff, so I've been making some crochet stuff. I have a custom listing so people can pick out colors they want, but I will be branching forward and things. So obviously, my crochet pumpkins are for sale, and I will be putting a bigger chunk of them out very, very soon within the week, and those will be for sale there too. Everything from my coffee page helps here in my YouTube channel to help things going. YouTube itself is not always the best avenue for as far as supporting the channel. But in any event, if you like things, you think you've learned something from my video and you want to leave a donation, there's a link to the coffee page for donations, and to see if you want to take a peek at the store, if there's any DIYs that you like for sale. All that helps. Never required, always appreciated. If you're here, just say hi in the comments. That helps YouTube know and suggests me to more people. So everything helps. And I want to say thank you. You are my fuel. I love that a lot of you are here every single video. I know your names. You make me happy, and I can't describe to you what you do for me the way you guys say I do for you. So thank you very much. I love you more than I can possibly say in words. Many hugs, happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye-bye for now.